Now as a youngster, I didn't worry too much about my future. I thought things would remain the same, but it changing it ain't like it used to be. All you can be in class is what they preach to me, but it's camouflage like Santa Claus. It never is what they said it was. And I'm only passing down the truth, not those lies about my roots. That's why these youngsters mobbing groups, and it ain't no truth. Every day we still at war, everything's worth fighting for. People scared to spank their kids, but they ain't scared to shoot their kids. And that's the neighbor though. Seen him every day growing up as a young nigga, roll, still busting shots at him. Quick to body bag and tag him. Hi neighbor, tell a neighbor that they might have murdered their son. It's like run nigga run if you ain't the nigga that's holding a gun. I wanna steer you right, but don't wanna tell you wrong. Cause out there's a whole lot of bullshit to be going on. So dear Lord, can you save me and protect my city? It's cold out here.
Introduction to the Truth of Life. You know, when I came out here to Houston, to Sugar Land, you know, my thought was the evolution of the rap game, the evolution of consciousness, the evolution of who we are as a people. And I watched the progression, how this hip-hop thing has moved from the East Coast to the West Coast to the South, and the final frontier is gonna obviously be the Midwest. And so, you know, I'm here down here messing with Goldtoes and putting this underground connection together so I can take this from where it's at now and we can move it into the next level. And so we pushing out here, man. Like Jesus.
So what are you talking about in the Truth of Life?
The Truth of Life is fundamental principles of the universe that apply to every living thing in the universe. And so once we start identifying with these principles and how the universe actually works, there's actually an order, a precise order to the universe, and we'll know how to get our thinking in line with that. There's a cognitive dissonance out here right now, or a cognitive disconnect, where we're thinking that our thoughts have nothing to do with our reality, or we're thinking that our physical condition is somehow disconnected from how we think. It's a cognitive disconnection. And so I'm here to put the consciousness back into the flesh, put the thought back into the physical, so we can dictate how we're going to live. Every level of consciousness has a corresponding reality. And so I talk about that in the book.
You know, we kick it, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things, you know, I call this man, he got so much, so much shit to say, man. And I really admire your knowledge and your wisdom. And, that's why I wanted to interview you, because, I call you a lot, you know what I mean? Like, almost damn near a spiritual advisor. And, you come from the streets, man. I mean, this man's been in the penitentiary. Did a lot of your knowledge come from the pen? I mean, is that where you kind of like started thinking this way, or when did you started, like, who gamed you up on what you know right now, basically, what I'm trying to say?
I think it's that same thing that's in with all of us, Toes. It's like when you have a feeling that things aren't right, so you're going through, say, the criminal justice system, or you on your job, or you just living day to day, and you got that feeling like, this ain't how it's supposed to be. So coming up in Kansas and Kansas City, I've always had that feeling, probably just like any other Asiatic man out here, that things aren't actually right. So I started trying to get some answers. And through my pathology, my experiences, and my situation, everything, all these answers eventually came. And a lot of people might say that the negative aspect of some of the things that I've experienced in my life, probably would make me a bad person or what have you, but those are the things that actually make me Black Jesus, because I've actually experienced everything that the hood experiences. And I know, like, when I talk a lot, because I want to be able to articulate my thoughts on a level that anybody can comprehend. A lot of times I shoot over the hood's head, but and I know that I really don't shoot over their head. They understand me. So it's almost like I gotta have this conversation for some people, but when it's time to have that conversation with my family, with those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, then we have this other conversation that deals with the same information, but it's put into a language that anybody that deals with the level of consciousness that we are can understand. And that's what we call in there. It's called rap.
Hey, so we was just talking about the picture of Jesus, man. Go on and tell them who they see right now. Okay. The white Jesus that we see out there.
For sure. So when I walked in the house, Toes told his son, he said, "It's black Jesus." So, you know, we smiled and had a good time with that. I mean, we always do. And I said, "So you thought Jesus was blonde hair and blue eyes?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, who told you that?" And he smiled. And I said, "That gentleman that you're looking at, when they show you that picture, the depiction of Christ, is a brother by the name of Cesar Borgia. And he was the son of Pope Alexander IV. And he was recorded in history to be not a very nice man. And this is the gentleman who we call Jesus today, according to the visual image that has been put out there by the Roman Catholic Church and other sects of Christianity and things of that nature. Everybody knows Jesus didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes, but that's the image that's been given to us. So I'm back with the truth. And that's the reason why the book is entitled The Introduction to the Truth of Life, because we're not dealing with nothing but truth. And if it can't be supported by facts and evidence, I don't want to hear it. You know, they told me when I was in high school in my American history class that Christopher Columbus discovered America. They told me when I went to court that I'd be judged by a group of 12 of my peers. They told me that Jesus was white. And I come to find out these are all lies. Come to find out that when I went to court, there was none of my peers on the jury. The trial still went on. Come to find out that Jesus had skin the color of burnt bronze and hair like lamb's wool. Totally different from any image that I've ever seen of the brother. They also told me that I wasn't gonna be nothing. They told me I had a learning disability when I was in school. Told me I couldn't read and write. Had me set up to go to the pen. Had me set up to fail. But I didn't believe that. I understood that there's a higher power that embodies each and every one of us. What's up, puppy? That embodies each and every one of us, and I tapped into that, and I'm putting that into music, and I'm giving that to you. And when you feel it, you're already gonna know what it is. So it is what it is.
You gonna get out what?
Hey, you know the words say we're not supposed to harm any living deity. So this is all love. You know when the energy is right, nature, the netters are always gonna be in tune. And this is just about frequency. And when you're in harmony and frequency, the trees understand, the animals are in tune, the dog is here listening to what we have to say. And so it is crazy why you wouldn't pick up the music. Because everything that you're getting ready to hear that's coming out of this black and brown experience, this Latin, this GT distribution, all of the stuff that's getting ready to come out of this camp is your future. It's where rap is going next. It's where hip hop is going next. And you know the word says nothing is new under the sun, so I call it a full circle. You know, rap started in the East, there was a consciousness to it, and then it did everything that it needed to do, so now it's back. We're in a leap year. This is 2016. This is an election year. This is so many things going on as far as paradigm shift is concerned in the universe that if anybody who's not riding this wave of energy is almost going to be swimming against the universal current. It's time to take this energy, tap into it, and use that energy to propel our success. Like Jesus always gonna tell you the right thing when it comes to the truth. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not above reproach. And so the truth is to be discerned, is to be deciphered, broke down, study to show thyself approved. My people perish for lack of knowledge. And so if it's anybody out there that can hear me, that honors the prophets, that honors Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, that honors Christ, that understands the Christos, the christening. If you understand what the Christos is, then you understand what I'm back for. When I say I'm Black Jesus, I'm not playing with that, man. Black Jesus, BLAKC, bringing love and kinetic consciousness. We back, man. The spirit is back now. So however you want to do it, holla at us. We here now, man. We books, lecture series. If there's a college, a university, a HBCU, a high school, a junior high school that needs to understand the principles of universal law, that needs to understand that old time religion, you need to get at us, because I'll be more than happy to show up. And not only are we going to give you this consciousness, not only are we going to break down the Bible, the Holy Quran, we're going to break down Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Catholicism. After we get through all of those different disciplines, then we get down to the real truth. Consciousness, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. That's what it's all about.
So when we first talked, I remember we went that everything started with thought, right?
Thought is the cause of everything.
So everything start with thought, then thought comes vibration.
Right. Well, it starts with mentalization or consciousness, and consciousness is the progenitor of a thought. In order to have a thought, you must be conscious. So it starts off with being conscious first. And then so you have consciousness makes for the thought. The next thing that you have is correspondence. That's what we're doing right now. There has to be a connection. For me to blow up or for me to do anything that I'm trying to do, I have to be able to make a connection with somebody out there. Somebody has to be able to feel what I'm talking about, understand what I'm saying. You and I had to make a connection. There has to be correspondence involved. And inside of the correspondence is order. That's why they call it a solar system. The word system implies order. 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, so on and so forth. Everything runs in a precise order. When you get dressed, you don't put your shoes on and try to put the socks over the shoes. Everything has a precise order in the universe. After order is vibration. The science has taught us nothing if it hasn't taught us that everything in the universe is in a constant state of motion. If it's made of atoms and molecules, it's moving, it's vibrating, and inside of the law of vibration is the principle or the attribute of attraction. Everything that we get in our life is as a result of where you place your thoughts. Your thought energy is a level of vibration, and like energy attracts like energy. And every level of consciousness has a corresponding reality. That's why they say if you're looking for a fight, then you'll find one. Well, what happens when you're looking for $1 trillion? Now, understand when I say this, $1 trillion, it looks like a huge number, but when we talk about collective consciousness, when we talk about unity versus the divided and conquer, we have the financial ability to accomplish anything that we want to. We here right now, and I'll run down these other 4. Polarity, inside of polarity is balance, rhythm, timing, cause and effect, gender. You understand those things. Listen, the appeal is this. Whole world, whole globe, whole universe, solar system, galaxy, whoever can hear what I'm saying. We're here to bring the so-called black man and the so-called brown man together. We bring in the native together. We bring in the indigenous tribes of this planet together. We're not allowing ourselves to be divided anymore. This is black and brown. This is red, however you want to. We understand about nations. We understand about Moorish Americans. We understand about Mexican Americans, first class, second class citizens. We understand about nationality. But just for the sake of conversation right now, we're going to say the so-called black man, the so-called brown man, the so-called red man, the so-called yellow man. We're talking about pigment. We're talking about melanated people, indigenous people of the planet. And so,
let me stop right there. So, what about white people? Where do they stand in your philosophy right now? Is it something that, I just kind of like we're saying everything else?
For sure. Let's talk about it. This is the truth. See, right now, when I talk about black and white, I'm not talking about a hue. I'm talking about a level of consciousness. White is a level of consciousness. Black is a level of consciousness. And so that's the reason why when I tell you my name is Black Jesus, I spell it out BLAKC. I don't spell it the other way, because when you look at the power to define, right? So whoever is running the world has the power to define. And they have defined black as associated with everything negative. Blackball, black male, black ice, black, everything black is bad, except for when it comes to banking. If you're in the black, that's good. If you're in the red, you're bad. So what I'm doing is I'm using this medium known as rap music or hip hop, however you want to call it, to redefine the reality of black. You know, we have the power to define. If E40 makes up a word and says that word on a rap song, it becomes a real thing. It has a meaning. And those of us who are in the community, we understand that. That's a real thing. And so we have power in the breath, in the word. You know, we look at the old school, and I tell a lot of people the message to Nelson Hill, to Black Jesus, is in the music. We look at the old groups. My pops, shout out to my pops, Harold Nelson, I love you, Dad. He turned me on to a lot of old music from a young age. He said, son, the message is in the music, even in the names of the groups, Earth, Wind, and Fire, things of that nature. That's telling us who we are. We are Earth. We are Wind. And when I start spitting, you already know what that is. That's fire. And so the Bible tells us that the world's not going to be destroyed by water. It's going to be destroyed by fire this time. And so you already know what that is.
Nuclear disaster.
Nah, man, at these heights, the clouds white as fallen angel hair. From Drew Ali to World War III, we can take you there. And I'll be everywhere, never scared anywhere. Let's talk about something rare, like gods in a science fair. Put a little something on they books, let them know you care. And I solemnly swear to bring awareness to the underground. Got world-renowned EL on your SoundCloud. Ain't turning down, I'm talking loud to the universe. Spit a verse, hit reverse, and take them all to church. For the rebirth, make them do their research. I got humanity in my arms like her feet hurt. It's in the ether, new jag, new creature. I'm after Easter, she my Playboy feature. The teacher of new divinity, baby bought me infinity. Looking down at my little me, knowing we make the Trinity. From Tel Aviv to the underground of KC. We finally free, and I ain't talking about DMT. I'm just the G, the seventh letter of the alphabet. This is Malcolm X, spirit made manifest. This is Dr. King's dream, fully redeemed, holy breath. I never left, just been to the left of the other side of the pilgrim's pride, in the land where the Hebrews died. Forced to comply with a lie. You see the God when the sun up, and you see God when the sun rise. Really go, the devil when the sun down and God when the sun rise. It's all good. We just bringing the heat, bro. We ain't really putting a whole lot of profanity with it. We just spitting real ism, and that's the study and practice of, man. And so that's where it is. We rapping, we writing books. We next, and I know this. We know this. And so really what it is, it's about everybody getting in line, pumping this out, and we rise together. You know, we've been conditioned to think that the only way we can come up is by stepping on somebody else, knocking the next man down. We coming up together. And when we do that, listen, it's already prophesied that we're gonna reign for 10,000. You already know what it is, bruh. It is what it is.
So, is there anything else you'd like to, let me see, open up the Truth of Life real quick?
Yeah.
You want to key in on any key things?
You know what? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pick a page. I'm gonna just read it, and then I'm gonna just let you mess with it. Consciousness, the first of the immutable spiritual and universal laws, is the progenitor of thought. Consciousness, all resides in a thought. Consciousness may exist without the appearance of a thought, but a thought will never exist without the appearance of consciousness. Nothing proceeds but from a thought. Thought is the cause of everything. Without a thought, there is no comprehension. A comprehensive understanding is the foundation on which man builds himself. It is his perception of himself as himself related to the current reality. Understanding is the answer to the questions of who you are, where you are, why you are, and why you are. As your thoughts are, so are you.
So let me ask you this. You wrote that yourself, and that didn't come out no book. That's your writing, right?
This is my writing. What this basically is for probably since 1995, I've been diligent in my studies. And so I studied, I'll run it back for you, right? So my grandmother, Geraldine Briscoe, raised me up in the church. So I got all of that Baptist bred understanding of the Torah, the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament. Then I went and got the Quran. of the Moorish Science Temple of America and I won't say broke it down, but started to try to get an understanding of that. And then I got to looking at some other things, and this is over a period of 20 years, to where I was noticing that the truth was but one, right? Like all these different religions were saying the same exact thing, like the basic pillars of the religion were all the same. And so what it came down to is when we're dealing with a certain truth, you can't even argue the truth. You don't debate it. You don't, if you go up on a skyscraper and I say, you think you'll get hurt if you jump? We're not even gonna have that conversation. You're gonna look at me like, are you stupid? We don't debate the truth. We don't argue the truth. And so none of these religions, which are man-made institutions, can argue the truth either. This is the same thing that was supported by every prophet, magi, sage, pastor, preacher, rabbi, bishop, elder, ever known to man. These are the truths of life. And once we get back to the truth is when we're really gonna ball out as a people, as nations of people, once we get back to the truth. The further we get from the truth, well, look around now. You got police killing teenagers, you got people rioting, you got people marching in the streets, you've got cognitive dissidence going on everywhere. And
but
so
when
it's time to get
people
back.
say that's always been happening though, like that's always been rioting, there's always been things like that, or what? I mean,
No, it hasn't always been like that. Now, just nature in itself is, there's a kind of a cliche that says nature's always at war, right? Because it's always about the survival of the fittest and the strongest and all of that. So even with these blades of grass, if there's a weaker blade of grass, the stronger one's going to push him out the way and grow up. All things tend upward to perfection. This tree grows up, you grow up. If I'm call myself part of this creation, I'm supposed to be continuously growing.
So we're supposed to grow as a people to make
as a people, but once you've even physically stopped growing, like you might not be 6'8", but that doesn't mean your mental stops expanding. So you have to grow every day. You have to learn something. Every day you have to expand your universe, because the universe is expanding, although there's no new energy being created.
Right, you gotta go with the times then. Man,
the same water, the same atoms, the same molecules that were here from day one is here now. It just keeps recycling. This is how a raindrop happens. It starts up here in the air as evaporation. And as it coagulates with other particles of moisture or water droplets, it becomes heavy enough to be affected by gravity. Once it's heavy enough to be affected by gravity, it's pulled down, law of attraction, to the earth. And it goes in the grass or the soil or whatever. And when the sun comes up and it gets hot like it does in Sugar Land, the sun evaporates the water. And as the moisture comes off the plants and out of the ground, the particles of dirt and mud are too heavy to be dragged up into the atmosphere. And so that purification process happens in the evaporation, where that moisture goes back up until it coagulates with other particles of moisture and comes right back down and does the same thing. Everything happens on the same level in the spiritual realm as well as in the physical realm. The Bible basically states, as above, so as below, or in earth as it is in heaven. And so he gives us visuals to look at so we can understand the things that we can't see with the physical eye. Because we also have another eye called the pineal gland, or some call it the pineal gland. And out of that, we secrete melatonin and serotonin. And we can get into that anytime that you would like, but that's what gives us this right here. So,
and well, thank you, for taking the time to do the interview once again, show the book, Truth of Life.
Truth of Life, man. You need to pick that up. IamNelsonL.org. Black Jesus on the music tip. Let me just kind of explain that, because I'm Nelson L and I'm Black Jesus. So when my guys see me and I'm in that cipher mode, that spit mode, that's that Black Jesus, really, because that's the spirit. And just so everybody knows, I'm not a crazy person who thinks that I woke up one day and I was Jesus. When I'm really talking about Jesus, I'm that really resides in each and every one of us. But until you tap into it, you won't be the Messiah, which means anointed. And so we gotta tap into that inner spirit that can never die. According to science, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be contained and transferred. And so the spirit is back, just as promised, as prophesied.
So I want to end the interview and let them know where you going tonight out here in Texas, man.
Okay. Quick 2 things real quick, man. Much love and respect. Big shout out to my guy, Devin the Dude. Has always showed Nelson Hill Black Jesus love, so I want to say shout out to Dev. We're going to be in San Antonio, Texas tonight. We was in Houston last night rocking with my guy, so we're going down to San Antonio and get it in tonight. Shout out to the boy Goldtoes and Thizz Latin, the Black and Brown Movement, Digital Distribution, GT, all of that. You know, shout out to my guy Watt. We moving up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my son, Honey Man, my daughter Ari, everybody. Now, normally we start off with praise and honors. I'm ending with that. So I'm going to end this with praise and honors. I honor all the prophets. I honor everybody that is trying to put a little bit of truth in their understanding. And when we're talking about making this truth your resolution, you know what I'm saying? Start off with yourself. Just be honest with yourself first. Before you can be honest with anybody else, you got to be honest with you. So we moving up the ladder. So I honor you. I honor the foe. You know what I'm saying? The science tells me without a foe, a soldier may never know his strength. So how you going to be a soldier if you ain't never fought a foe? If you ain't never gotten a fight? If you ain't never had a battle? If you ain't never dealt with nothing? You can't be a soldier. So I shout out to the foe. Thank you for that beautiful death. And now we back on the resurrection side, and then I shout out the Most High. Whatever you call him, Allah, Jesus, Jehovah, Daystar from on high, El Shaddai, whatever you call him, I honor the Most High. And let me just end by saying this, because a lot of people say, well, your God is not my God, or, you know, we get into these different understandings of truth. And somebody say, well, maybe my truth ain't your truth. No, the truth is only one for everybody, and that's the same thing with God. So if whoever you're serving causes you to not love your brother, to divide from your sister, to argue with your father, or hate your mother, or not like yourself, you need to take a look at who you're worshiping. Make sure you're not chasing after those gods of Europe and those tricks of the devil, because he'll have you chasing that money. He'll have you chasing that car. He'll have you chasing that lifestyle. He'll have you chasing everything that can't love you back. Quick little word of advice. Don't ever love nothing that can't love you back. Like Jesus.